Hi guys, good afternoon. So CLAT is about to be underway in about 48 hours from now. I understand nerves are frazzled, you're a little rattled, there's a lot of energy building up. I hope most of it is good and I hope most of you've prepared well for your exam. In fact, I'm sure you have. And irrespective of what the exam actually turns out to look like, because you've prepared well, I know all of you will do well. All of us at CLAT Prep sincerely hope so. Now, because you are short on time right now, this is the final last lab and you need just the bare minimum information in the shortest possible duration of time, we at CLAT Prep have decided to ease your preparation a little bit more and just give you top 10 cases that you need to look out for that may appear on the exam or may have some relevance, because there have been significant judgments of the Supreme Court in the last year or so. So these are judgments that the Supreme Court delivered last year, parts of this year, which have had crucial relevance in the governance of this country, and we thought it would be important because obviously, remember, for CLAT you do not need to read judgments, but now you're already taking the exam, so I hope you know that already. The exam does not test your prior legal knowledge. It tests what you know, how you read and how you comprehend things in a short span of time. So now, given that is the case, we will give you an overview of 10 important landmark judgments that you need to be in the know of, so that the unfamiliarity gets taken away, so that if they end up appearing on your exam by some luck, you know at least the basic concepts that those judgments stood for, and that familiarization time and process that you would have ended up taking up, which could be anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes to 5 minutes, that goes away. And every second counts. Obviously, it's a time based exam, it's a strategy based exam. So with that in mind, we will start this. It's only 10 judgments. This won't take a lot of your time. This is meant to give you the bare minimum information in the quickest span of time, so that your preparation gets added to. We do not want to take a minute more of your time than you need to give to this video. With that in mind, and with the idea that you do not need to read any of these judgments, we will start henceforth. Okay, one very crucial judgment that was given this year by the Supreme Court is the judgment of Ajit Mohan versus Legislative Assembly, National Capital Territory of Delhi. This is popularly also known as the Facebook judgment. So what had happened? The Delhi Assembly had issued summons. A committee of the Delhi Assembly called the Peace and Harmony Committee had issued summons to the chief managing director of Facebook to answer about its role with respect to the Delhi riots. So there was this case made that Facebook in fact ended up amplifying the violence that took place in Delhi in the year of 2020, and to answer to that amplification, Facebook had been served summons by the Delhi Legislative Assembly. Now the managing director of Facebook challenged these summons that had come to it from the Delhi Legislative Assembly before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said two things. The Supreme Court in this case said that while the Supreme Court upheld these summons and said that while the job of the Legislative Assembly is greater than what it is there to enact laws, so the Legislative Assembly does not just exist to make laws, it is also there for other purposes, including democratic governance of the country, and these summons were necessary so that Facebook and other private entities such as these are made answerable for the acts that they end up perpetrating or at any rate amplifying. So while the court said that these summons were valid because the job of a legislative assembly is not just to make laws but to uphold the democratic structure of a country, no action could be taken against Facebook by the committee which is criminal in nature, which is penal in nature, because for that we have a parallel criminal remedy available under law, right? So while you have a right, the Delhi Legislative Assembly had a right to issue such summons, those summons were valid, the Delhi Legislative Assembly could not take any criminal action against Facebook for the same. This judgment also gains prominence because it is one of the first few judgments which has remarked on the great power that social media platforms such as Facebook end up wielding in our democratic governance in our country. So the Supreme Court said that while Facebook has been instrumental in enabling free speech across the country, in allowing everyone to voice their legitimate opinions, it has also become a platform for spreading of hate, for spreading of disruptive ideologies, and for spreading of untoward messages, and for that there is need for regulation. So this was a crucial judgment that had come up last year that you need to be in the know of. The next is Jigya Yadav versus CBSE. This is popularly known as the right to identity judgment. Now, what is this right to identity judgment? So Jigya Yadav was denied some changes to her 12th mark sheet for whatever reason, and then she had gone to the Supreme Court saying that the CBSE bylaws which deny to her the right to change certain details about her, certain individually identifying details about her, is violative of her right to identity. So in this case, the Supreme Court for the first time said that your right to life under Article 21 also protects your right to your identity under Article 21. So the Supreme Court said that identity is a fundamental right of an individual and it is protected by Article 21 of the Constitution, and because identity is an amalgam of external and internal factors, it is imperative that an individual is in control at all times of these factors so that they can control their identity in the best possible fashion. And the CBSE bylaws which restricted the petitioner herein from changing certain identifying details about her were held to be violative of this right to identity. The next case I would want to discuss with you is another case of great prominence called the Citizens for Green Doon versus Union of India. This, you may know, is popularly called the Char Dham project judgment. So the army had wanted to double lane a particular highway which in the Himalayan plains because of their strategic and national security reasons. That action of the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways to double lane that highway was challenged before the Supreme Court. What was the grounds for challenge? It was said that improper environmental compliances have not been made before the decision to double lane this highway was made, one, and two, that this puts the Himalayan ecology at certain danger. It is already a fragile ecosystem and it is further endangered by the action of the government in double laning this highway. So what did the Supreme Court have to say about this? The Supreme Court said that, look, there are national security reasons and India's strategic interests involved here, so we cannot allow those to be frustrated because of environmental concerns at this stage. However, most importantly, the Supreme Court said that the court, given that it is a judicial body and not a legislative body, not a policy body, is not in a position to second guess the strategic needs of the army. So if the army feels that it needs to double lane that highway to protect its strategic interests, the court is not in a position to double guess what the army thinks is in its best interest to do. So this case, Citizens for Green Doon versus Union of India, landmark case in administrative law and environmental law. I hope you remember the cause title at least. The next case we'd be discussing is Lieutenant Colonel Nitisha versus Union of India and others. As some of you have known, in 2020 also the Supreme Court recognized the right of women to be given permanent commissions in the army and to be promoted in the same way as men get promoted in the army. Now, while this promotion practice was being undertaken, the Supreme Court, some women officers who were short service commission officers, SSC officers, went to the Supreme Court saying that while they were seeking appointment as permanent commission officers, as permanent officers of the army, certain discriminatory practices were being undertaken which held them back from promotion. So what did the Supreme Court said? The Supreme Court struck down army's discriminatory promotion practices, holding that women officers, that the way women officers were being granted or were being denied permanent commission was reflective of systemic discrimination. So why is this judgment important? In this judgment, the Supreme Court discusses the concept of formal equality and substantive equality, and the court says that the aim of the Constitution is not just to ensure that everyone is treated equally, but to ensure substantive equality, so that if people are at different pedestals in their life, they are brought to the same footing so that they can be considered equally. The Supreme Court also said that in formal structures like the law, there is often inherent bias and inherent discrimination built in, and the removal of such biased practices, the removal of inherently discriminatory practices which are systemic in nature, is necessary to ensure substantive equality. Substantive equality being protected under Article 21, 14 and 21 of the Constitution, it is imperative that discriminatory practices in promotion, wherein women short service commission officers who are now seeking a permanent commission were being denied that promotion, those practices, those inherently discriminatory practices, be struck down. So the case is called Lieutenant Colonel Nitisha versus Union of India and others. This is the Women in Armed Forces judgment, right? So the end result was that the women were granted, the SSC officers were granted permanent commissions, and it was held that the way that they were being denied those promotions was reflective of indirect and systemic discrimination built into the very structure of the law. The next judgment I would want to discuss with you is called Union of India versus K.A. Najib. Now this is a famous case. K.A. Najib, the respondent herein, was accused of cutting off a professor's hand because the professor had framed a question in a question paper which Mr. Najib is accused to have not found so palatable, and he was also accused of hurling certain bombs in public. Now the Supreme Court in this case held that when Mr. Najib is being tried under UAPA, the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Now the Supreme Court held that Unlawful Activities Prevention Act makes it harder for an accused to get bail because it is presumed that the trial, given the severity of the offense, will go swiftly. If the trial is not going swiftly, then that presumption goes away, which means an accused by default becomes entitled to bail. Why is this judgment important? Because it says it doesn't matter what the law says, what the statutory law का language says. The judgment says that your right to seek bail, आपका bail का right और आपका speedy trial का right जो है वो आर्टिकल 21 से आता है. तो स्टैच्यूट कुछ भी बोले, जो लॉ है अनलॉफुल एक्टिविटीज प्रिवेंशन एक्ट कुछ भी बोले, क्योंकि आपका राइट जो बेल का है और जो स्पीडी ट्रायल का है वो आर्टिकल 21 से प्रोटेक्टेड है. तो अगर स्टैच्यूट वो राइट रिस्ट्रिक्ट कर रही है तो स्टैच्यूट को कंसिडर नहीं करेंगे, हम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को कंसिडर करेंगे. तो आपके आर्टिकल 21 के वायलेशन के लिए, आपके आर्टिकल 21 राइट्स के वायलेशन के लिए, क्यों? क्योंकि आपका स्पीडी ट्रायल नहीं हो रहा या आपको बेल डिनाई हो रही है बार बार और ट्रायल भी स्लो चल रहा है, उस बेसिस पे भी आप बेल के पात्र हैं, उस बेसिस पे भी आपको बेल मिल सकती है. दिस इज द राइट टू बेल जजमेंट. व्हाई इज दिस इंपॉर्टेंट? इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम द राइट टू सीक बेल वाज कनेक्टेड इन अ वे विद आर्टिकल 21 of the Indian Constitution. Okay. The next is another bail judgment which was very landmark for its time. It's called Thwaha Fasal versus Union of India. In this case, the Supreme Court said that mere association or membership of a terrorist organization, so under UAPA, an organization can be designated as a terrorist organization. Supreme Court ने क्या कहा कि अगर आप सिर्फ एक terrorist organization के member हैं या उसकी association के part हैं, but आप ऐसी कोई activity नहीं कर रहे हैं जिस उस organization की, उस terrorist organization की activities को बढ़ावा दिया जाए, तो आप पे यूएपीए डायरेक्टली अप्लाई नहीं होता, आपको उस ग्राउंड पे बेल डिनाई नहीं की जा सकती. सो जब आपका बेल का क्वेश्चन, यूएपीए में बेल ऑब्टेन करना थोड़ा मुश्किल होता है, उसमें जो रेगुलर क्रिमिनल लॉ है उससे थोड़ा हायर स्टैंडर्ड होता है बेल ऑब्टेन करने के लिए. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने पर इसमें क्लैरिफाई कर दिया कि जस्ट बिकॉज आपके खिलाफ यूएपीए लग गया है इसका मतलब ये नहीं है ऑटोमेटिकली आपके लिए बेल लेना मुश्किल हो गया. अगर आपके खिलाफ एलिगेशन ये है कि आप एक टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के पार्ट थे, बट आपके खिलाफ एलिगेशन में ये नहीं है कि आपने उस टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की एक्टिविटी को बढ़ावा दिया, आपका बेल का राइट्स फ्रस्ट्रेट नहीं किया जा सकता. आपका बेल का राइट आपके पास निहित रहेगा एंड यू कैन एक्सरसाइज इट एट एनी पॉइंट दैट यू वांट. ओके. This was another landmark judgment both from a political standpoint and from a legal standpoint called Ashish Shelar and others versus the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly and another being the Speaker. Now what had happened here, some MLAs belonging to a particular political party were suspended by the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly on grounds of disorderly conduct. So the Speaker had dissolved the assembly on the grounds that they had engaged in suspended these MLAs on the grounds that these MLAs had engaged in disorderly conduct, and they were suspended for a period of 1 year, which is extraordinary. So the Supreme Court said that such suspension of these MLAs who were called disorderly was illegal, it was unreasonable, and it was unconstitutional under law. Now why did the Supreme Court say so? The Supreme Court said that yes, the Speaker has power. Speaker के पास कोई भी इंसान, कोई भी member of Legislative Assembly अगर है और वो सभा में शोर मचा रहा है, disorder create कर रहा है, तो Speaker उसको for the time being suspend कर सकता है. That is true. But वो suspension सिर्फ उस duration का होना चाहिए जिससे order restore किया जा सके. 1 साल तो आपको लगेगा नहीं ऑर्डर रिस्टोर करने के लिए, तो ऐसा कोई भी सस्पेंशन जो ऑर्डर रिस्टोर करने की मियाद से ज्यादा है, जो उसकी ड्यूरेशन से ज्यादा है, वो एक अनरीजनेबल ऑर्डर है और ऐसा सस्पेंशन नहीं हो सकता। ओके दूसरी चीज सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्या कही, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि आपने सस्पेंड तो एमएलएस को किया है, बट इसका इफेक्ट क्या है, वो एमएलएस जिन कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं वो अब 1 साल तक असेंबली में रिप्रेजेंट नहीं होंगे। तो इनडायरेक्टली पनिशमेंट किसको मिला, कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स को। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि ये इनडायरेक्ट पनिशमेंट जो है कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स का, ये इलीगल है, ये नहीं हो सकता। तो इन 2 ग्राउंड्स पे महाराष्ट्र असेंबली ने सर्टेन ऑपोजिशन लीडर्स को सस्पेंड कर दिया था 1 साल के लिए, क्या बोल के कि ये डिसऑर्डरली कॉन्डक्ट कर रहे हैं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि आप अगर डिसऑर्डरली कॉन्डक्ट के ग्राउंड पे सस्पेंड कर रहे हैं तो आप सिर्फ उस ड्यूरेशन के लिए सस्पेंड कर सकते हैं जो जरूरी है ऑर्डर रिस्टोर करने के लिए, नंबर 1, और 2 क्योंकि ये इनडायरेक्टली पनिशमेंट है कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट्स पे, ऐसा सस्पेंशन फॉर सच अ disproportionate period is illegal under law। ठीक है। The next case that we'll discuss is called the Maharashtra reservation case, also called by the name of Jayashree Lakshman Rao Patil versus Chief Minister of Maharashtra। तो महाराष्ट्र ने क्या किया था, महाराष्ट्र passed a law called the Socially and Educationally Backward Classes Act of 2018। उस लॉ में क्या था, उस लॉ ने बेसिकली मराठा कम्युनिटी को रिजर्वेशन दिया था ओवर एंड अबव द 50% सीलिंग। सो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपने जजमेंट्स, इंक्लूडिंग एक जजमेंट है सुप्रीम कोर्ट का लैंडमार्क जजमेंट इंदिरा सावने नाम से, इंदिरा सावने वर्सेस यूनियन ऑफ इंडिया, उसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्लियरली कहा हुआ है कि रिजर्वेशन जो है उसकी सीलिंग 50% पे है। तो जो भी टोटल नंबर ऑफ सीट्स है उससे 50% तक आप रिजर्व कर सकते हैं, उसके ऊपर रिजर्व नहीं कर सकते। महाराष्ट्र असेंबली ने इस लॉ से, सोशली एंड एजुकेशनली बैकवर्ड क्लासेस एक्ट ऑफ 2018 से मराठा कम्युनिटी के लिए 50% सीलिंग के ओवर एंड अबव कुछ सीट्स रिजर्व करी। तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्या कहा, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि देखिए हमने जो 50% की सीलिंग सेट करी है, पहली बात तो आपका लॉ उसके वायोलेशन में, एंड सेकेंडली 102nd अमेंडमेंट टू द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो है, जिससे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रिकॉग्निशन मिला था नेशनल कमीशन फॉर बैकवर्ड क्लासेस को, आपका लॉ उसके भी 102nd अमेंडमेंट के भी वायलेशन में है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में इसमें क्या पर्टिनेंट ऑब्जर्वेशन की, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि जस्ट बिकॉज नाउ वी हैव सेट अप, द गवर्नमेंट बाय द 102nd अमेंडमेंट हैज सेट अप द नेशनल कमीशन फॉर बैकवर्ड क्लासेस, दैट डज नॉट मीन दैट द स्टेट्स पावर टू आइडेंटिफाई एंड प्रोटेक्ट बैकवर्ड क्लासेस इज टेकन अवे। सो नाउ both the center and the state can identify backward classes and make provisions with respect to their protection, preservation and promotion। Okay, so this is it। Now I am sure if any of you remotely read the papers, as I hope you did, you would have heard the dispute between Amazon and Future Retail. Future Retail entered into a deal. Amazon was not very happy with it. Amazon initiated arbitration proceedings against Future Retail and Reliance before the Singapore International Arbitration Center in Singapore, and Amazon obtained a stay on the deal from Singapore। Now what happened is आपने Amazon ने सिंगापुर से स्टे ले लिया फ्यूचर और रिलायंस की डील पर। अब सवाल ये आया कि अगर सिंगापुर ने स्टे किया है, सिंगापुर के एक आर्बिट्रल ट्रिब्यूनल ने इमरजेंसी आर्बिट्रल अवार्ड देके इसको स्टे किया है, तो ये जो इमरजेंसी आर्बिट्रल अवार्ड है इसकी इंडिया में क्या एनफोर्सेबिलिटी है। तो उसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने क्या कहा, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला कि Amazon ने सही किया है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट फाउंड इन फेवर ऑफ Amazon, एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि ऐसा कोई भी इमरजेंसी आर्बिट्रल अवार्ड होता है जो किसी बाहर के आर्बिट्रेशन सेंटर से आता है, वो इंडियन लॉ में एनफोर्सेबल है, बोथ एज एन इंटरिम रिलीफ एंड एज अ सब्सटैंटिव रेमेडी। नाउ सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने इस केस में ये भी बोला कि ऐसा कोई भी ऑर्डर इंडिया में जो पास होता है फॉर एनफोर्समेंट ऑफ सच एन इमरजेंसी आर्बिट्रल अवार्ड, देयर कैन बी नो अपील अगेंस्ट इट। एंड दिस, why is this judgment important? Because for the first time under Indian law, it was recognized that emergency arbitral awards, when obtained from outside India's jurisdiction as well, have validity and can be enforced either as an interim relief or a substantive remedy in India. That is why this judgment is important. Finally, we will discuss the case, another very important right to dignity judgment that came this year was called Jija Ghosh and another versus Union of India। तो क्या होता था कि जो persons with disabilities होते थे, दिव्यांग जन जो होते थे, जब वो एयरपोर्ट में चेक इन कर रहे होते हैं, so they would have to remove their prosthetic limbs। तो उनका अगर प्रोस्थेटिक पैर है, प्रोस्थेटिक हाथ है, जो भी है, वो उनको हटाना पड़ता था टू सिक्योरली चेक इन। The Supreme Court said, Ms. Jija Ghosh challenged this practice before the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said, look, you cannot make people remove their prosthetic limbs just because they are doing a security check-in, because their right to live with dignity is guaranteed to them under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. अगर आपको dignity के साथ जीने का अधिकार है, तो कोई सरकारी एजेंसी जो कि आपको एयरपोर्ट पे सिक्योरिटी चेक इन करा रही है, वो आपको फोर्स नहीं कर सकती कि आप आपके प्रोस्थेटिक लिम्स हटाएं just to check in, because that is a violation of your right to live with dignity under Article 21, which is guaranteed to you under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Now, Supreme Court also made various observations about the plight of those who live with disabilities in India, and the Supreme Court finally said that, look, we need to protect everyone's dignity, and the only substantive way to protect the rights of those with disabilities and the right to dignity is to ensure that these discriminatory practices which are built into the structure of our law are not enforced and done away with, including the removal of prosthetic limbs at the time of security check-in. So you would see this year there's been a trend of Supreme Court judgments, like we discussed the army women in army judgment, this judgment, and other judgments as well, where the Supreme Court has tried to recognize biases built into our law against certain persons or classes of people and tried to remedy against that and developed a new body of jurisprudence with respect to that. With that, we finish the top 10 cases that I hope that we at ClatPrep hope you are at least vaguely aware of before you start answering your questions. Remember, the point is not to read these judgments. The point is not to know them page by page, but to at least be familiar with what they are and what they stand for vaguely, so that at least if it comes in the exam, you can answer your questions with some amount of accuracy. That is all. With your exam being 2 days from now, I wish you all the best. We know at ClatPrep that you will do well. All the best.